Good afternoon to everybody out there right across the island portion of this province and up there in the big land of Labrador. We have a great show laid out for you today, and I really hope that you're going to enjoy it, because I know I will, because it involves a bunch of conversations with really interesting people. My first guest, he's a good-looking man. Can I say that? Zach? Producer Zach Snow, am I allowed to say that? He is a good-looking man. Originally a member of the Three Tenors, and now struck out on his own and playing here in this city tonight. His name is Remigio Pereira, and he's on the line. Remigio, how are you?
Hey, Darrell, how you doing, brother? Get to speak with you today.
Good-looking man. You okay with that?
Sure, whatever works, brother.
It's funny because we planned this call, and my sound check is before 4:00, but your sound check is a little bit earlier.
Well, it was to be a bit earlier, but I think they're still setting up the stage and stuff. So, I'll be doing the sound check after we get off the phone here. So, it's, usually a show that starts around 7:30. You know how it is. Do the sound check around 3, 4 o'clock, eat at 5, rest for a little bit, and then go down and do our thing, right?
Yeah, you and we have 1 degree of separation because Tony Pitcher.
Yes.
That name ring a bell?
Pally, yeah.
Pally, yes.
Yeah.
That's funny that you called him Pally. That's that's so funny because, he was our sound man and road manager for years, and he also spent a hell of a lot of time with the Three Tenors.
That's right, yeah. Well, he came on board with the Canadian Tenors probably when... right at the beginnings when things were just kind of starting. So it was quite crazy for him because he was actually running around doing absolutely everything. And he's a great guy. He's been, he was such an asset to the group, and just a really great guy that kept the morale going. And you need those types of people on the road, and especially with the workload that he had. He was tour managing. He was doing the sound. He was tearing up, setting up. He was doing it all, and for a job like that, that's really thankless. We really appreciated everything that he's done. I think he's working with them right now again. So,
yes. Why not? I'm going to toss this out right now. There was never any wherever venue you walked into, it was a no smoking venue, right? And when Tony was really crooked, he'd walk into the venue, walk up on the stage, and light a cigarette, and just
yeah.
It's like
that was hilarious. It started off that way, but then afterwards, I think the boys kind of had a little conversation with him and said, we can't have smoke machines and we can't have Pally smoke machines either.
Oh, God. A couple of minutes on live radio talking about Pally. That's radio gold to me.
He's a legend. He's a legend.
He really is. Someone who's a sound man from St. John's who, played with the, sound managed the Black Keys.
The Black Keys.
Right?
Your band, Great Big C, the Tenors, and I think he also was with Mariana's Trench for a while, and he's gotten around quite a bit,
My kids love Mariana's Trench, my youngest in particular.
Oh, yeah.
So
we shared the stage with them at the Junos one year, a great bunch of guys, yeah.
So, listen, it's Christmas, and people are sort of getting their shopping done, but you're on the road.
Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm out here, trying to get some shopping done for our brothers and sisters in need. I'm doing some concerts to raise funds for the homeless. I did some shows in Montreal and Ottawa, and here I am on the Rock to do the same thing to help out the Tommy Sexton shelter here in town.
Oh, Tommy Sexton. What a man.
Yeah, a lot of good things, stem from that name, and a lot of people benefiting from him and his life. And, we just we got to do what we can. He was a model to follow, and here we are trying to do our part.
His mom is a saint.
Yeah.
His sister Mary is as funny as Tommy.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny. So, what's it like to come back here and play tonight? And what's the show going to be like?
Boy, it's awesome. I mean, I've been coming here for the past 9 years. My daughter lives here, and while I was on tour with the Tenors, I would come back once a month to spend time with my daughter. So it feels like a second home to me. And although the weather is always something to kind of get used to, the hearts of the people always, make everything nice and warm and fuzzy. So I've always had a great time coming here. The people are amazing. I've always had a great time. And I've performed a few times here at Mile One and with the group, and so here I am, coming back on my own and kind of rebuilding, lost time, and here I am performing at JAG. This is my second show now at JAG, and the first time, the word was slowly getting around because most people know the name the Tenors, but they don't know individual names of the members, so they don't really know the name Remigio Pereira. So, coming into town, but they recognize the voice, and so now we have a sold out show here tonight. I think we only have standing room left, so it's for a great cause, and I'm going to be singing some songs off my VOCM album that I released last year, and some classic tenor songs, as well as some Christmas classics as well. So it's just me and the guitar and the piano, very intimate kind of show. And it's going to be a lot of fun. What is
inaudito?
Vox inaudito is Latin for voice unheard, and that name just came, because with the fallout with the band and everything that ensued after the national anthem, I didn't have a voice to be able to explain myself and what the whole point of it was. My message was not directed to a minority group. It was directed to the system that puts us all in dire straits. And, the message was one of peace and of love. And, but, the world that we live in, a lot of the media is owned by 6 corporations which have a certain agenda, and they need to keep that agenda going. And so anybody that goes against the mainstream gets demonized, and that's what happened. And so I'm just here, picking up the pieces, and I've always been a person of peace and of love, and anybody who knows me would have known that, and know that I have a biracial daughter as well. And but none of that came to light. They wanted to bury that kind of stuff so that their agenda can keep going. So. But here we are. We're just trucking on, moving ahead, and continuing with the message of peace and love.
You have my forgiveness because I know what it's like to be under a spotlight.
Yeah, well, it's like under a microscope, and everybody gets to see it. Like Rolling Stone magazine, Billboard magazine, The Guardian, the whole music industry, basically, turn their backs, and but it's a snapshot of society today, and the powers that be, how they manipulate things and manipulate the agenda via the television programming that we have. And it is what it is. People have to start waking up and really doing their research and doing their due diligence to find out who's really pulling the strings. And this world is not what it seems, and a lot of lies have been kept. But at some point, everything's going to be revealed, and those that are stuck in telling the lies are going to have to face the truth at some point.
Tell me about your daughter. What's she doing here?
Her mother actually was born here, and so she lives here, goes to school here. Her mom and I, we weren't together at all for any of the pregnancies. So, but I was on tour with David Foster in Asia, and she's half Chinese. And I flew out. I skipped the tour and flew out from Shanghai to come and be here for the birth. And I've been here pretty much every month ever since. But it's not an easy thing being on the road and being a dad and having a life of a musician is not the easiest thing on the home life. But I Skype called with her every 5 days a week and came to visit once a month. And so it's you do what you can. My family, we've had my parents had 8 kids, and so family is very important to us and to me. And if I can just be half the man that my father was to his children and to my daughter, then I feel like I've done a good thing.
You've had a great career. Now, I've been lucky enough to play in front of the Queen. We played Auntie Mary Had a Canary Up the Leg of Her Drawers, and which was kind of, I could see her wincing as we were singing it. But you, have like the Dalai Lama. I met him in a Toronto airport once, and I was like, odd. But you have had a career of singing and playing and performing with probably the best musicians in the world.
Yeah, brother. If you would have asked me, when I was in high school, I had like long hair down to my butt and I was playing Metallica and Guns N' Roses. If you would have told me that I'd be singing opera and singing for the Queen and singing for all of these people, the presidents and the Dalai Lama, I would have thought you were absolutely out of your tree. But as life would have it, you can't plan things, but so much has happened, and my life could literally be a movie. But yeah, I've sung 5 times for the Queen, had tea with her, and we were just there, in 2015 for the big Jubilee, with all the horses and everything, and met a lot of people along the way. Played with some of the greatest musicians, Nathan East, who's played with Sting and. Eric Clapton and David Foster. And, it's just been a whirlwind. When you have your face to the pavement, you're not really paying attention to, to the accomplishments that you've managed to get under your belt. But at some point, you come home and then your family's like, you realize that you just sang for the Queen, and you're like, you know what? Holy crap, that's true. That happened. But it happened so fast, you don't have time to really think about it, So you just go on to the next show and you just try to do your best because, people come out to be entertained. But, it's one thing to entertain every night, but it's another thing to use your voice for the betterment of humanity. And to me, it goes hand in hand. We got to pay it forward. So it's a blessing to have had the career that I've had. And, right now I'm just really enjoying, having a solo career and, getting out of the hustle and bustle of the craziness of the music industry. And, to me, I much prefer a life of that I'm a bit more in control of my everyday as opposed to having, 5 years planned for you and knowing exactly where you're going to be at a certain time. I kind of like the spontaneity of getting to meet the people backstage, before the show, after the show, and, just living a bit more of a normal life.
Give me a table and chairs after a show on any given night and let tunes grow. That's really for me, that's what it was all about all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, the music is what gets us, once you get the bug, it becomes a passion, and almost an obsession. When I was starting off, I started off as a guitar player, and I was in high school, and I was practicing, 9 to 15 hours a day, and then going to school, and then coming home and starting it all over again. And it didn't feel like work to me. And when you have that kind of passion, and you're surrounded by like-minded souls, it's not work. To other people, it might seem like a lot of work, but when you're passionate about something like that, everything just kind of flows. And God sets his path for you, and you step onto the road, and you kick the dust off your shoes, and you move forward. And here we are, brother.
Remigio Pereira, it is such a pleasure to talk to you today. Your show is tonight. Give us a time.
Yeah, it's at 7:30 at Jag Hotel. And, it's been awesome. Jennifer Ryan's been helping promote the show out here. And this is the second show that we do. It's great to have a sold-out show, with just standing room left. So I appreciate all the work that she's done, all the stuff that she's, had to go through to get me to play out here, and big thanks out to Jag and Mr. Steele for having me at his venue, and all the wonderful people here in St. John's, and to you, Darrell, for having me on the show.
Listen, next time you come, let's reach out to me early. Let's have a coffee. Let's sit down and have a chat. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today.
That would be awesome, brother. I would love that. Maybe we can write some tunes together too.
Absolutely.
We sit at that table together.
Now, I sing a little flat.
That's okay. I sing a little sharp, so we're even.
Actually, that might actually work. Remigio, it's been a pleasure, bud. Thanks.
Same here, brother.
Take care.
Lots of love to everyone. We'll hope to see you at the show. Thank you so much.
Glad to have you here. Bye-bye.